Welcome to Report from Tiger Mountain, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to talk about tonight something called the Hyman Roth Effect. This is in relation to Donald Trump and the Jewish lobby and the Zionist lobby and all that stuff. So, and Godfather too. So stick around and listen to my crazy thoughts. In The Godfather Part 2, obviously there are different villains of the various Godfather movies. There was the kind of heroin dealer in Godfather 1 who took a shot at, the Marlon Brando character, the original Don in The Godfather, and nearly killed him, and that's what brought on the secession, because then after that the Don was ill, and, James Caan was going to be the successor of the family, but then he gets killed in the kind of mob war that followed, and Michael Corleone eventually stands up and takes over the family. Now, in Godfather 2, the main villain, and he's also the villain, it's implied that he was also the main villain from Godfather 1, that he was the one behind this heroin dealer that took a shot at the Don, is a character called Hyman Roth. Hyman Roth is a Jewish gangster, I think based on Meyer Lansky and a couple other real-life gangsters from the period who are very powerful gangsters in the American organized crime scene. Now, in The Godfather, Michael Corleone is in an alliance. When the film begins, he's in an alliance with Hyman Roth, and there are many other Italians who are working with him. Are like, why are you siding with this Jew, right? You know what I mean? Over us, aren't you about, like what your father was about, protecting the Italian community? Why are you putting this, character, this Jewish character, over your allegiances to the Italian community? And and it comes to the head with a character called Bazzini, who nearly gets killed in this kind of, crime family struggle. And he has a meeting with Bazzini, and he says that, look, I want Hyman Roth to think I'm his best friend, and he says the famous line, you keep your friends close and you keep your enemies closer, ladies and gentlemen. Now, how does this little story relate to Donald Trump? Well, I know Donald Trump from certain elements of the far right, the new right, the radical right, the dissident right, the extreme right, whatever you want to call it. There are all different factions and variations there. But many people have complained about Donald Trump's almost rabid support of Israel, right? Now, of course, that may be exactly what it appears to be. He may mean that, fine, and maybe he really is he's legitimately a strong Zionist. Maybe he is blackmailed in some way that we don't know about, whether it be through Epstein, whether it be through financially, which is possibly the case, or it's the Hyman Roth effect, which is that he's actually not that way. Because you see, whenever Bibi Netanyahu comes to the White House, Donald Trump pulls the chair out. He doesn't do that for anybody. You know what I mean? They accuse him of liking Putin. He certainly doesn't do it for Putin. It doesn't do it for anyone. It certainly doesn't do it for Albo. So he's pulling out the chair. That's almost too much. It's almost a slight giveaway that he really wants to signal his allegiance to Bibi, Benjamin Netanyahu, if, as you will remember, betrayed Donald Trump. When Donald Trump did win the 2020 election, Bibi said, no, you didn't. You know what I mean? And turned his back on him, even though he'd been a very loyal. So maybe Donald Trump has some resentment, you know what I mean? And knows who the real villains are, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe he knows. And maybe, like in Godfather 2, he's keeping his friends close, but he's keeping his enemies closer.